she wandered 3 steps too close. The mud gave way, and the river took her, just like that. Something beneath the surface had already noticed her. It wasn't rushing. It never rushes. The crocodile vanishes below the surface. The water goes completely still.
Explosion of water, the crocodile launches upward. Air horns fire. Chaos. 2 meters away, the water erupted. What happened next? You have to see it to believe it.
She didn't fight her because she was too tired. She just let go. She carries her all the way home.
A rescuer lowers himself into the river. Team grips the rope. Nobody breathes. One man entered that water.
What you are about to see is one of the most shocking rescues ever caught on camera. Deep in a remote river valley, far from any city or town, lies a stretch of water that locals have feared for.
The jungle here is thick and untouched. No roads, no people.
Massive freshwater crocodiles patrol this river silently. They do not chase.
On this particular morning, a local African-American male farmer brought his goats to graze near the river's edge. The farmer stood back and watched his herd graze. The morning was quiet. The air was cool. One little goat, smaller than the rest, wandered away from the herd. She was curious.
The grass near the water's edge was lush and irresistible. It pulled her forward.
She reached the edge without realizing how close to the water she had come. The mud beneath her hooves was soft and unstable.
And then, without warning, the muddy bank gave way beneath her. She slipped. She scrambled. The moment she hit the water, panic took over. She kicked her legs desperately, searching for solid ground.
And somewhere beneath the surface, something had already noticed her. A long, armored body began to move.
The farmer screamed from the bank. His voice broke with panic, arms waving.
The rest of the herd scattered in terror. The calm morning was shattered.
A massive crocodile, over 12 feet long, emerged from the dark water just meters from the struggling goatlings. This animal was enormous, ancient, a perfect predator shaped by millions of years.
Beneath the surface, its movements were eerily graceful, silent, effortless. It covered the distance.
The goat cried out, a heartbreaking sound, high-pitched, desperate. She had no idea what.
Above the water, she fought for her life. Below it, something moved toward her with absolute certainty. Her legs were slowing down. The exhaustion was setting in fast. Small animals tire quickly in moving water.
By some miracle, a wildlife rescue team was operating just 2 kilometers away that morning. They were checking.
A local villager came running, breathless, shouting about a goat in the river. And
The Middle Eastern team leader looked up from his equipment and made a decision in less than 1 second. He grabbed his radio and shouted 2 words.
They ran, not jogged, not walked. They ran with everything they had. Ropes, flotation boards, air horns.
Every second counted, and they all knew it. A goat in open water with a crocodile circling does not have long. When they reached the ridge above the riverbank, the goat.
What they saw stopped them cold for exactly 1 heartbeat. Then the team leader called out positions, and they moved down to the bank.
He assessed the situation in seconds. Jumping in was not an option, not with a 12-foot crocodile in striking.
They threw a rope. It landed too far. The current swept it sideways before it could reach her. The goat had no idea what it was. She could not grab it even if it had reached her.
They threw again. The current was working against them at every turn. The river seemed determined to swallow everything they sent.
A male East Asian rescuer pointed at the saltwater crocodile's last position. The team adjusted their plan instantly. There was Then something worse happened. The crocodile simply vanished. It slipped beneath the surface without a sound.
The team froze. Every person on that bank was scanning the water desperately, looking for any sign of where the Nubian goat had gone.
The water gave them nothing. No ripple, no shadow, no sign. The gharial crocodile had disappeared into its own river.
The team leader made his decision. One rescuer would enter the water from upstream with a flotation board and a long pole.
The rescuer assigned to enter the water prepared himself in silence. He had done dangerous things before.
He lowered himself into the river inch by inch. The cold water rose around him.
On the bank, his teammates gripped the rope with both hands. Nobody spoke. Nobody moved. He moved through the current with slow, controlled movements. Too fast and he might startle the crocodile. Too slow and the goat might not make it.
From above, the scene was almost unbearable to watch. One woman in open water. One small... Just soft, low sounds to keep the Boer goat from panicking further. She was already terrified.
10 meters between them. He closed the gap steadily, pushing the flotation board ahead of him like a shield between himself and whatever might be moving beneath the surface. 8 meters. A young East Asian man could hear her clearly now. The cries had changed. Less sharp. More exhausted.
5 meters. 5 meters. She turned her head toward the sound of her voice for just a fraction of a second. She didn't understand what she was.
And then the water beside her erupted. The crocodile launched itself upward from just 2 meters away, breaking the surface in an explosion.
For a fraction of a second, the full size of the animal was visible. 12 feet of muscle and armor, and the team on the bank fired the air horns the moment the caiman broke the surface. The sound hit like a physical force.
The water cannon sent a high-pressure jet straight at the animal. It connected. The American alligator reacted immediately.
For one terrible second, the water was so churned and chaotic that no one on the bank could see the female rescuer clearly. Every person stopped breathing.
The crocodile turned. It sank back beneath the surface and moved downstream, away from the noise and the pressure. The rescuer closed the final distance without hesitating. He reached out one arm and wrapped it gently around the goat's small, shaking body.
She did not fight him. She was too tired. She simply went still the moment his arm was around her.
Her head rested on his shoulder. Her breathing was rapid but steadying. She didn't know who he was or what had...
He turned and began the slow, careful journey back to the bank. The current was still working against him. The team on the bank pulled the rope with slow, steady hands. No jerking, no rushing. They brought...
The faces on the bank told the whole story. The fear had not left. But something else was wrong. His boots found the riverbank. The mud held. He took one step up, then another, still cradling the goat.
Her hooves touched solid ground. She felt it beneath her. But she didn't move right away.
The team gathered around her in a loose circle. Nobody spoke loudly. Nobody made sudden movements.
Then something extraordinary happened. She lifted her head.
Slowly.
On her own. She looked.
She let out a small, quiet sound. Not a cry of panic, not a scream of fear, just a song.
Her legs began to move. Slowly, shakily, she was trying to stand. The team watched.
Minutes earlier, she had been drowning in a river with a 12-foot alligator. Oh, she stood in sun below. She leaned into the hand on her back. Just a little. Almost like she didn't mean to. But she did.
The rescuer who had gone into the water sat on the bank with his hands on his knees, catching his breath.
The sounds of the jungle began to return. Parrots called from the trees. Crickets and other insects picked up.
Then the farmer arrived.
He covered his face with both hands. His whole body shook. He had watched his goat go into that river.
He had been wrong. We were being wrong or leaving wrong, something like that. Pure.
He knelt beside her and she sniffed his hand. She knew that smell. She pressed her face against him and he held her.
The rescue team stood back and gave them space. Some of them turned away. Some just stood quietly with their thoughts.
The team's veterinarian moved in for a careful examination. She checked the goat methodically. Eyes, breathers.
A few scrapes, some muscle fatigue, a heart rate that was elevated but falling. The vet kept
Quotes. The vet looked up and gave the team leader a single, quiet nod. He exhaled. The nod moved through.
And then the goat did something that made everyone on that bank smile without meaning to. She turned her head toward the grass.
Confidence. By the time the sun began moving lower in the sky, she was eating grass again. Calm.
The farmer sat nearby and watched her eat. He didn't speak. He just watched.
The river flowed on behind them, dark and silent and entirely indifferent. The crocodile had... The rescue team began packing up their equipment. Nobody made a big moment of it. They coiled the ropes, folded the boards. The male African-American team leader took one last look at the river, then at the goat still grazing near the bank.
They walked back the same way they had come, through the same tall grass and muddy ground. Because some moments do not need celebration. Some moments only need to be felt.
Jesus. The afternoon light turned golden and long. It fell over the river and the grass and the trees.
In the distance, the rest of the herd had settled back into their rhythm, grazing. The small white goat walked back toward her herd on her own. Her steps were still slightly unsteady. She moved back among them as if she had never left. One goat turned and sniffed her, then...
The farmer stood watching his herd. All of them together. All of them safe.
We share this world with creatures that feel fear just like we do, that fight to survive just like we do. They cannot ask for help. They cannot explain their pain or their fear. They can only fight for as long as they can.
Today, someone made that decision. Several people made it at the same time, without hesitation.
The river flows on, silent and dark and full of things we cannot see.
And one small life, it turns out, is more than enough reason for everything that happened today.